From a galaxy far, far away to the final frontier, the depths of the universe have long since fascinated us on the big screen. I'm Katelynn Pedri.
And I'm Paul Gursky. This month on Theme on Screen, we're headed to space as we explore the furthest reaches of the universe.
Strap on your spacesuit as we blast off and explore Theme on Screen. And remember, in space, no one can hear the sound of the pedal on Timmy Chalamet's ass. It's catching
Welcome
it.
to episode 19, everyone.
Episode 19. Congrats, Paul.
Congratulations,
You did it.
Katelynn. I never thought we would make it this far, mostly because I don't like you.
Yeah, I was ready to dip out episode 5, but I stuck around.
So you may have noticed we have another guest with us this week.
Surprise, another one.
So everyone,
Guys.
welcome Ray Straight.
Yeah, hi guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I've never been on a podcast before, so thanks so much for having me.
Well, we're excited to pop
Hey,
your
it's our
podcast
pleasure.
cherry.
Gross.
Yeah, I had to make it weird, whatever.
Who, what, where, and why are you?
Geez, so probably the most relevant thing for listeners, I'm a video editor by trade. I work with advertising agencies, so it's a lot of like commercials and social media, internal PR type stuff. I decided wanted to do that back in high school, and I've just kind of pursued it ever since.
Wow. I wish we would have known before we put Paul in charge of editing these videos. Well, we're happy to have you. I noticed that you did just get started really getting into movies lately. Is that a new thing for you? You got your letterbox going?
Yeah, it was one of those things where I knew of Letterboxd and it was kind of daunting, but I made a New Year's resolution to just Letterboxd every single movie I watch. And it's since turned into me wanting to write reviews and make lists and all of everything that comes with Letterboxd. So if you're listening, give me a follow.
It really does snowball as soon as you start your account.
It's almost addictive.
Eventually, you're going to start your own rival podcast.
I don't know about that.
Do you have any favorites that you've watched this year? I know it's not that far into the year, but what's good this year?
Yeah, I did a lot of kind of catching up on all the Oscar movies in January. I did go see 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, which was a lot of fun. What else did I see? Oh, it was really interesting. It was the last one I saw. Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. Do you guys know anything about this?
Yeah, I really do want to see that.
I hope you can still find it in theaters. I knew nothing going in, and that's probably the best way to do it, is to kind of go in blind. But it's like a comedy duo, and without giving too much away, the movie involves time travel, and they utilize footage they shot of themselves 20 years ago to have them like interact with themselves in the past. And it's just a feat of movie making that how they were able to pull this off. It's special effects, but it's not like gimmicky special effects. It's kind of like, how did that actually happen type of special effects. Really cool.
I'm excited to see that.
That is not what I expected that movie to be about.
I know very little about it other than it was a web series before, and now from what I've heard from lots of people, it's their favorite movie of the year so far. So I'm excited to check that one out.
I have another question, because it sounds like you went to the theater to see these. Are you having good experiences?
Yeah, I don't know if it, for one, is I will often find myself going to like afternoon matinees when there's like no one else in the theater. Those are my favorite to go
That's
to.
the trick.
Yeah, although for Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, it was a small theater, but it was pretty packed with a bunch of like 30-something couples, and we all had a great time. No one was a jerk at all. I was telling Paul I had an experience. What was it? It was we went and saw Send Help. Like, old couple sat down right in front of us, and it was like this lady just applied half a can of hairspray right before walking into the theater. It was
Like
I've never had a scent problem in a theater before.
I think I would rather deal with that than talking, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, hairspray would be okay. Maybe like if they're like tooting, no, that would be grounds.
Maybe that's why she applied the hairspray, so she would just mask the scent before she sat down.
Too.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. So can I just come to the movies with you going forward, Ray? I think I might stop going with Katie.
He might be the one.
That's it.
Or we just do more matinees, Paul. It's like we're gonna have to like specifically take days.
Well, I think Katie and I tomorrow we're gonna try to go see The Bride, but really late. I think we're gonna try for like a 10 o'clock showing since we don't have to work Friday. Though we might not have a problem with that because I don't think anyone went to see The Bride anyway. But whatever.
I'm hearing mixed on it. I don't know. It could not so good.
I'm excited. So anytime we have someone on for the first time, we do like to ask their top 4 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, and very much in spirit of Letterboxd, right? I
Yes.
used to always tell people, it's so hard to think of all of your favorite movies at any one time, but in Age of Letterboxd, we don't have that problem. So, I did the thing, I made the top 4, and, it was tough narrowing them down, but I kind of did a good grouping that I think kind of covers everything I like. My number one with a bullet, the most hipster pick I've got is this movie called Cemetery Man, which is a bad, unfortunate US title for an Italian movie called Della Morte dell'Amore, which means of death and of love. And it's just a great, comedic horror film about a cemetery caretaker where the dead come back to life at night and he just kind of ho-hum kills them because he has to, it's his job. And then he meets someone and falls in love, and there's this, they die and then, oh, they're coming back kind of thing that goes through. And it's a really funny, charming, hipstery kind of pick for a best movie. And
Yeah.
I'd recommend
Oh,
it to anyone.
very hipster of you.
I also, for a long time, would say In Bruges, which I also have on my top 4. Also very kind of witty, dark comedy. It has a character named Ray in it, so that's always a winner. Royal Tenenbaums I have, which I know Paul's a big fan of. Love Wes Anderson. I especially love his newer movies. I think like Asteroid City and Phoenician Scheme are some of his best. But Royal Tenenbaums is kind of the classic of his. And I put The Social Network as my 4th, which on another day in the future might be Oppenheimer. They're both very these just kind of propulsive, biography type pictures, really cinematic, and just from minute one you're just hooked. So yeah,
Social
that's my
Network
top.
was one of
Watch
the
that one
ones
again.
I saw it when it first came out, and I just don't think that I like it, but it also has been so long since I've seen it, and so many people think it's one of the best movies of the decade or the last decade, so probably is worth
Yeah.
a revisit, especially before The Social Reckoning comes out.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to like Zuckerberg, right,
I
to
think
find a
maybe
movie.
that's why I didn't like it at the time, because I feel like I almost thought Zuckerberg was just like a nerd like me, and they were being mean to him in the movie. And now I realize that was probably a mistake on my part to empathize with him at all.
I just remember Justin, they had him as
The
What
Napster
was that?
guy?
Sorry.
Yeah, you broke up
yeah,
Yeah,
again.
guy.
he a little takes over the movie, but I mean, you kind of need that, what it's probably that, later the second act, just kind of extra bump to keep things moving.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
I can
Am I
also
really
maybe
Yeah, you're
shout
really
out some
am I
breaking up.
really
honorable
cutting out that?
mentions.
Yeah, give some more shout outs. Let's just not, let's pretend we can't hear Katelynn because we can't hear her anyway, so.
That's okay. Scott Pilgrim, I'm a huge fan of,
Mhm.
especially, other early Edgar Wright movies. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz are really great. With Nil and I, it's like a British drama movie from the 70s about these two kind of destitute, uh, out of work actors. It's just kind of a classic movie. House, the Japanese kind of comedy horror film about a bunch of teenage girls that go to a house that eats them. And
I like the
Jurassic
premise.
Park. I have to
Yep.
shout out Jurassic Park. Will probably always be the movie I've seen more than any other. I don't know if anything could ever top it.
It's close with me. Jurassic Park or probably Return of the Jedi. They're probably really neck and neck. But yeah, I'm actually going to see that at the Redford with Matt Turner on the 28th. I think they're playing it in 35 millimeter, so I'm excited to actually see that on the big screen again because I haven't seen Jurassic Park in theaters since '93. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, I never saw it in theaters. I was too young. So,
Oh
sorry,
yeah.
Caitlin. Go on.
Trying to make it so you guys can hear me. I didn't think it was this bad.
Well, what were you gonna say? If we could hear you there.
That's it. Just it's great.
Okay. We agree. Jurassic Park's a great movie. Podcast over. I think we've got all we need.
Yeah, that's it. Cut.
Well, Katelynn, have you yourself watched anything recently? If we can actually hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. It's really just, it breaks up every so often.
Yes, everybody. So I watched The Nonas on Netflix. It's got Vince Vaughn and Susan Sarandon and Dr. Jennifer Melfi from The Sopranos and Linda Cardellini. And his mother has just passed away. He's got some money that he wants to use and honor his mother and his grandmother. So he decides to open up an Italian restaurant. And the chefs are all grandmas, all nonas, which I actually think is a really cool idea, and that would definitely be like a restaurant that I would go to personally. I think the only gripe I had with it was that the grandmas were not really old enough to be grandmas, and Vince Vaughn wasn't very Vince Vaughn. He was a little funny, but he wasn't, going all out. But honestly, this movie would have killed like early 2000s. I think it was kind of like My Big Fat Greek Wedding. That's what it felt like. It felt like that. So I liked it. I cried. John was like, "I'm going to give it 2 stars." And so if that tells you anything.
Seems like a must watch.
Yeah, it's a must watch. And for anybody who's interested in Vince Vaughn or grandmothers.
Who played the
Um
grandmas that weren't old enough to actually be grandmas?
so
You
like
think
I
there's a lot of
said,
crossover between people that are interested in Vince Vaughn and grandmas? Ray was kind of stroking his chin, like
yeah,
there's a specific kind of person that he was thinking of there.
Yeah, I got nothing.
yeah, oh, and then Talia Shire, Paul from The Godfather, the sister. She
Okay.
was one of the grandmas. Yeah. So they had like a really stacked cast. Drea Di Matteo from The Sopranos was in there too. Ray, have you watched The Sopranos? Is this falling on deaf ears?
Yeah, I watched the first season, maybe 2. So, but don't worry about spoiling it or anything.
Well, if you remember Adriana, she worked at the restaurant, Artie's restaurant, and she was the hostess. And so she's in this movie, and I just thought it would be a really good opportunity to make her the hostess of the restaurant, but missed opportunity. So,
Maybe
shucks.
for the
That's all I
sequel.
watched, though.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you
I didn't do much.
enjoyed yourself with Nona's.
I gotta, you gotta watch something. It was something. Do you guys have anything else fun that you wanted to discuss? Because we have a big thing coming up this weekend for movies.
We do. Actually, I guess after this well, when this airs, it will have already happened. So we could talk about
Mm-hmm.
it like we know the results already.
Yeah, I was, I realized that too after we scheduled it. So let me be the first to congratulate Begonia for winning Best Picture.
That came out of
You-
nowhere.
No one believed in
Whoa.
you, but I always knew you could do it.
We knew you had it in you. I think I specifically would like to just get your take, because we know who I am and what I love, and I'm very much not on Timothy Chalamet's side right now, you guys. I'm having a hard time sticking up for Chalamet right now. Paul,
See,
you're
I
looking
am
at me like you don't know.
Well, I know what happened, and I think people are probably making a bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. I don't think Timothy Chalamet necessarily hates ballet or the opera. I think he was just kind of speaking out of his ass for a moment and just said
Yeah.
something stupid. But also, I don't know, ballet and opera, to Timothy's defense,
Don't
are.
say it. Don't say it.
I'm not saying they're stupid and no one cares about them, but they're a lot more expensive and a lot less accessible than just going to see a movie for a lot of people. So I kind of get what he was saying. Like at the same time, I did see someone say that like saying you want to be like the biggest in the world means you care more about fame than you care about the art form. So I can see that, but I don't know. I think voting was done by the time this whole thing happened. So
Yeah,
I think the tides have probably turned against Timmy anyway. If I had to bet right now, I'd say Michael B. Jordan walks away with Best Actor, but
I agree.
who knows?
What do you think, Ray?
I'm still holding out hope, mainly just because I really want Adrian Brody to give him the Oscar after I think he stole
And
it from
try to
him
kiss
last
him?
year. Gosh, it would just be too poetic.
I don't
Did you
know.
actually think he deserved it last year over Adrian Brody?
Well, I for one didn't like The Brutalist a ton. It wasn't bad. But I think it was one of those kind of occasions where he's getting the Oscar, A, for the dedication to becoming Bob Dylan. I mean, like he learned to play all those songs and everything. But
Mhm.
you put it with Dune Part 2, and it's kind of one of those like he kind of won for both of those. That's Erlo would have won if he hadn't,
Yeah, that makes sense. I just didn't really like the Bob Dylan movie, so I don't know.
No.
That's fair.
Well, I guess
Had really good cigarette acting.
yeah, that's okay. I could do better. What do you think this year? Not what you think is going to win Best Picture, but what was your favorite of the 10 nominees?
Yeah, well, I maybe spoiled it. I have really loved Begonia. There was just something
Yeah.
about it that it hit on so many different things for me, and it kept me engaged and kind of guessing the whole time as to what the ending was truly going to be. Um, I think Jesse Plemons should have been up for Best Actor.
He got robbed.
Yeah, so just like that was the one. Like I watched it, and it was like this is a 5-star movie. Like it just hit me as soon as I was done watching it. Um, It wasn't nominated, but I really love the Phoenician Scheme too. That was my
Mhm.
personal number 2 of the year. Um, One Battle, it's kind of undeniable. that it's good. I do hope it still beats out Sinners. I hope Sinners doesn't come in last minute to take Best Picture, but I mean, yeah, the tides are certainly with Sinners.
Yeah, I think just the story and the momentum behind it is pretty cool. But I liked both of the movies, so I'm not really gonna lose sleep regardless of which one wins. I do think One Battle was a little bit better, but uh, yeah, the story of Sinners is cool, and everyone likes a good storyline when it comes to Oscar time. So
I think I'm gonna have to do a rewatch of everything, but I don't have time. I
yeah,
got a busy weekend coming up.
same.
I got a really busy weekend.
I've only been really watching the Oscars the past couple years, and it was only last year was the first time I'd actually watched all 10 nominees, and
Same.
it took us like the weekend of like Friday and Saturday watching the last two before the Oscars on Sunday, but we'd watched all of them or I personally had watched all of them by like a month ago. So
Yeah, I feel
I
like
don't know if
Okay, Ray.
it
Okay.
almost seemed like they were a little easier to like more accessible. They were hitting POD. The
Yeah,
theaters were doing at least limited releases. So yeah, last year it just seemed harder to see some of them.
I
Especially
still
yeah,
have
like
2 to
the
go.
oh, do you think you're gonna finish them by Sunday?
I think I don't know, maybe if I stay up till midnight tonight, I could watch The Secret Agent.
So I forgot to mention The Secret Agent last time, but when we talked about new movies, I did watch The Secret Agent finally. That was the last
Oh,
one that I hadn't seen, and I loved it. I think it's probably my second favorite of all of the Best Picture nominees. So if you have 2 hours and 40 minutes, I would recommend it because I thought it was a really,
I
really,
really
really good
don't.
movie. I know.
I really don't.
see that one it landed a little rough for me. I didn't love The Secret Agent. I don't know if it was part of the like you're going in kind of expecting more of like an actiony type of movie, and it's certainly not that.
Mm.
It just
It's a
didn't really
comedy?
resonate with.
No, it's not a
No,
comedy.
it's yeah, it's just kind of a story about he's I don't even know how to explain the story exactly, but yeah, it's a kind of a slow drama.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good way to put it.
I like that.
Just
I
kind of
don't mind
about
that.
I don't know political upheaval in Brazil in the 1970s.
And I like Wagner Moura.
He was really good. I guess we're gonna have to compare top 10 lists once we don't have to do it right now since we're podcasting, but I'd like to see your full list.
Yeah, we should bring Ray
yeah,
back. He knows what he's
I,
talking
I
about.
I will say I did in making my top 10 list, I had to sneak Final Destination Bloodlines in as my number 10 just because it was the most fun I had watching a movie all year. You know,
It
it's
was
certainly not
so fun. It
it's
was
not a work of art. Yeah, it's the way that it plays off like the preconceptions you come into each scene, like what you're expecting to happen, and it knows where it's got you, and it just is like just has so much fun.
I don't think
Dang,
I
I gotta see
laughed
that one.
harder at a movie at all last year. Like I watched it by myself, home alone,
Yeah.
and was cracking up. So
Nothing compares to that first one, though.
I haven't seen any of the other Final Destination movies.
You just jumped in with Bloodline?
I jumped in, yeah, because so many podcasters that I like really enjoyed it. So I was like, Katie refuses to watch them because she says they're too gross. She doesn't like elaborate kill scenes. So I think she was actually out with you one night. I think she went to see a movie with you or something. So I threw Final Destination on and had
It
a great
wasn't
time.
was it, Freakier Friday?
Maybe. I don't remember. This was
Because I feel like it was a
sometime
while
last
ago.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't yeah, any more Oscars thoughts from anyone? I'm excited to watch the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to drink champagne. Um, all I wrote down was I think it's anyone's game now. I like that we've seen different winners, throughout each of the awards, and I'm glad everybody's getting a little bit of flowers, but sadly, I just don't think it's gonna be Timmy's year once again, and he's really I'm sorry. I love him, but he's pissing me off. I love him, but he's pissing me off. I'm sorry.
You know what I think his problem is? I think he was too thirsty. I think it,
I'm
it just
sorry.
it shows a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been seeing a lot more stuff, and we don't have to talk about hot gossip, but I've just been seeing a lot of people that are saying that this whole Kylie situation is not a good look for him, and it's
What,
not.
finding true love?
Yeah, we don't want him to have true love. Please don't. I know. I'm sorry. Ray's like, she does this every time I'm listening to this show. All
He's
she
listened to
talks
the
about
podcast
is,
before. He knew what to expect. You don't have to apologize.
Yeah,
well,
my interest in my interest in celebrities really stops when it gets to their personal lives.
oh
They can
yeah,
do that.
me too. I don't care like what he's doing or where he's
Who he's
at
doing?
currently. I do care. I do care who he's doing. Who's your favorite actor and actress, Ray? What movie will you watch anything they do?
Oh, like of anything. Wow.
I know off the cuff.
Yeah. Who do you know? But just first thing came to mind. It's been a while since he's been in much, but Simon Pegg, probably started with how much I loved Shaun of the Dead when I first saw it. But I was following him through a bunch of weird movies for a long time. I think I kind of fell off once. He got into did he get into a Marvel movie at all?
Mission Impossible.
Oh, that's what it was, the Mission Impossible movies. I
Yeah,
haven't followed those.
Got it.
Um, actress, I kind of am on Team Paul over Kirsten Dunst.
yeah.
I can't say that I've followed her much in the past, but, like, I actually like, she in, was it Civil War? She was really great in that.
That's a blind spot for me. I need to get to that
Yeah, I'm
one.
sorry.
It was on the list for that year. I mean, I think she's one of those like Emma Stones that she always picks good projects, so she's fun to watch.
Did you see Roof Man?
No, not yet.
That was one I missed this past year, but I guess she's in that too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the list. It's been on the watch list for a while, but it's hard to get to movies.
Yeah, we're having a really
Also,
hard
I
time.
don't like the title Roof Man. It's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, it didn't do a lot of favors.
He's not on the roof, right? I thought he was, like, in the attic.
I think he breaks in through roofs. I think that's why it's called Roof Man. I haven't seen the movie yet. I will watch it and get back to you.
If he went through the door, would it be Doorman?
Maybe. I think that'd be a
We're all
different kind of
dorks.
movie. All
A
right, well,
lawful entry. Okay.
do you have any other questions for our guest, Caitlin, or do you want to move on to the movie?
I personally think I have learned everything movie-wise today.
Everything.
Everything. So we can jump right into it because you guys are gonna be in for a real treat for what I have today.
Caitlin hated the movie. Okay. So, do you want to tell them what movie we watched and that you hated so much?
You don't know that I hated it.
I knew you were going to hate this as soon as I finished it.
Oh, Maron. We watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. Oh, go
Well,
for it. Do you wanna
I guess
say you wanna say who's in that?
I'll
Because
go over the
fuck if
cast,
I
even
know.
though I don't know who any of these actors are.
No.
And I don't remember any of the characters' names. So there was Keir Dalia as Dr. David Bowman, Gary Lockwood as Dr. Frank Poole, William Sylvester as Dr. Haywood Floyd. And I'm not going to go over too many other people, but Douglas Rain was the voice of HAL 9000. And I think I could say more names, but you're not going to know who they were. So that's it. Now, do you want to summarize the movie, Caitlin? I really can't wait for your summary.
Do you want me You guys, I'm so sorry. I literally had to Google what happened because I don't think I understood. I still don't think that I understood, even after Googling it again, writing down what I thought, chat GPTing it, and talking to John. I still don't think I know what happened here. So this is going to be the absolute worst plot overview. And please don't listen to me and make your choice if you're going to watch this because whatever. Okay. 2001: A Space Odyssey is a movie about human evolution, artificial intelligence, and contact with higher extraterrestrial intelligence, I guess. From what I can gather after thinking about it for some time, that's that it takes place over several loosely connected stories. So first, it's the dawn of man. And here we are introduced to a pack of apes, and they're like really superhuman-like. They live on what I assume is Earth. One day they discover a black monolith. So bad. A black monolith that's standing in the dirt. After the encounter, one of the apes then discovers that bones can be used as weapons, and then he proceeds to beat the shit out of another ape, and then I guess he like kills him. And then he throws the bone into the air, and now we're in space. And so this supposedly illustrates the jump in human evolution. That's one. Then it's the discovery of the moon. The scientists now discover another monolith is buried on the moon. When sunlight hits it, it emits a powerful radio signal that is apparently aimed at Jupiter. All I know is that they did not have any dogs in the room during editing because my dog Charlie freaked the fuck out. It was so high pitched that he lost his mind. Then it's the Jupiter mission. 18 months after the discovery of the moon, or on the moon, of the spaceship Discovery 1 travels towards Jupiter to investigate that signal that they heard. The crew here includes Dave Bowman and Frank Poole, along with 3 other crew members that are all in hibernation. The ship is also controlled by HAL 9000, an advanced and creepy AI that they entrusted basically the entire aspect of the ship and the crew to him. HAL begins to malfunction and reports a failure in communication unit that turns out not to be broken. Frank and Dave try to have a sneaky little conversation to discuss what's happening, but HAL can apparently now read lips and he knows what they're up to. So in response, HAL kills Poole during a spacewalk and then disconnects the life support of the other 3 crew members in hibernation. Bowman, however, manages to re-enter the Discovery 1 and works to disconnect HAL as the AI literally begs for his life in what can only be described as one of the most horrifying things that I've ever seen regarding AI. Then Jupiter and Stargate is the next one. Hale is shut down. Bowman realizes the true mission of the journey was to investigate that alien signal and the monolith. When Bowman finally reaches Jupiter, he finds another monolith, I guess, floating in space. This part, it really got confusing for me. When he reaches it, he's then pulled into some other psychedelic, colorful journey through space, which I thought looked great, but I don't even know what it meant. And then finally, Bowman ends up in a strange Wuthering Heights Bridgerton-looking room, and he seems to progressively see older versions of himself. And eventually, the oldest one is lying in the bed. He sees another monolith. He reaches towards it, and this is where he's transferred into the Star Child, surprise, which is like a glowing fetus that is looking at Earth in space.
I
That's
think
it.
that's the plot of the movie. I think you got it.
I think you got it.
I think you nailed
Literally,
it.
I don't know what
The
happened.
That's
the
what
movie-
Blacked
happened.
out.
the movie's very unconventional. I realize it's basically it either has the most plot or the least plot of any movie because it is either the entirety of human existence
Yeah,
or it's two guys getting attacked by a robot.
that's a really good point. Um, because I think my complaint, I had to watch this in three sections actually, speaking of, because it took so long. Two, I had to go out with my friend for her birthday. So then I came back and watched The Star Child after having 3 glasses of champagne. You know, I don't know what happened there. Um,
What
it
The
was
happened?
movie conveniently
confusing.
gives you an intermission, which is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
too common for movies.
Yeah, that was nice. But it came after, I don't know where, I'm just getting into it. It came after because the first 23 minutes of this movie, well, first like 8 to 9 minutes, I think were black with just sound. So I thought my movie was broken, even though
So
I
I
was
did the
watching it on
same thing. I
HBO.
Googled, does
I
this movie
Googled
actually
it.
start with just blackness and sound?
I
Because I thought
Googled
my
it because I thought it was broke.
4K was skipping. Yeah.
Guys, it's called an overture.
I don't want to over nothing. And then you get into the whole the part with the monkey, the apes, right? And no one's talking, so it's silent for the longest time. Then you finally do hear something, and you end up on the space shuttle, the first one, and nobody's mouth is lining up. So then I thought again, I paused it, left the app, and came back in because that didn't line up.
Well, I don't think that's the fault of the movie. I didn't have that problem.
No, I Googled it. That was what it was because sound travels faster than they were moving. So you heard what
is
they were
that really a
saying
thing?
before. Right? Right, back me up.
Which section?
The first part in
On the way to the space station?
yeah, when the guy first shows up on that space station and the girls are like flight attendants for space and they got the hats on, their mouths didn't line up.
Well, I think especially when he's like asleep in the chair and she goes in and picks up the pen. I don't think there's any talking in that.
No, it's after that. Once they get off
After
that, yeah, once they get off that and they're on the ship proper, but it's like not American Airlines. It was like
A Pan Am.
Pan
Yeah.
Am, yes. It was Pan Am. When they were on the Pan Am, nothing lined up. And then even when they were all meeting in that meeting room to discuss, and they were like, here he is, he's going to walk up, and he was still sitting in his chair for like another 10 seconds.
That
Everything
seems
was
like a tech
delayed.
thing.
Yeah.
That seems like a
Really?
tech-
Yeah, that didn't happen to me.
Fucking HBO.
I mean, hey, if that was the only knock against this movie, you nailed
that
it.
wasn't my only knock against this movie. Where do you guys want to begin? Do you want to talk about anything director, I guess?
Okay, so this was your first time. This was my first time, but I think I did try to watch this around middle school, and I'm not sure I even made it to the space station. I think the apes I think my friend and I turned it off. And Ray, you have seen this more than once? Just once?
Plenty of times. I
Plenty of
I
times?
probably saw it in high school. I also saw it at the Michigan Theater in Ann Arbor once. It had. I'm not a huge formats, but I believe it was on film. I'm a fan of the Blank Check podcast, as you guys have talked about, and they covered Kubrick a couple years ago, so I rewatched it with my wife, and yeah, now watch it once or twice, getting ready for this podcast. So I've seen it a good half dozen times at least.
Did they like it?
I think my wife recognized that it was a piece of art. I don't think she'd, say, "Hey, can we put that on?"
I need to calm down. I'm going to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
So
Oh.
Katie did not watch this with me, so I don't have her take, but I will say I loved it.
So I think my biggest overarching takeaway this time watching it is that, and to sound like way younger than I am, it's a vibes movie. It's a very much you just get in it and you're kind of like letting it happen around you, and it's yeah, it was,
I
made me kinda
agree with
realize
that.
this time around.
Like, you saying that you saw it in theaters, knowing like, having seen it once, I would love to see this movie in theaters, like, starting with, I don't know, 8 minutes of silence and just booming audio. You're sitting in a pitch black theater with just an orchestral score playing. Like, yeah, it's just kind of a movie that you want to let wash over you. And honestly, for being almost 60 years old, I think it just looked beautiful. So, like, seeing it at home was cool. Like, I've got a good TV. I was watching the 4K. But yeah, I agree. Vibes movie for sure.
I knew you guys were gonna do this to me. I knew it.
I mean, I like the plot too. Like it has a plot. It's not just vibes, and I think you described the plot fairly accurately.
Well, thank you, ChatGPT and Google for helping me out on that one, and John a little bit. John said he did also see it in a theater, and he said it was much better in the theater, and he didn't watch it with me. He just kind of, peeked in around the corner every once in a while, and he watched that last half hour with me. He doesn't not like it. I think he thinks it's I just I just don't think this movie's meant for me. I got to be honest with you. This is my your the holiday. I
There's
you
not
guys
really
are
any
one of
women. There's no romance. The,
yeah, no boobies. There's like, why am I even here?
a lot
Frankly,
of showing, no telling. I knew it wasn't
yes,
going to be a Caitlyn movie, and when I finished it, but
yes,
you know what? I
that was part
liked
of
it for a
it.
lot of those reasons.
I'm like, why do I have to fill in the blanks? Like, why can't you tell? I'm here for you to tell me. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, wait, is this the movie? Is it all these apes? Oh, wait, now they're in space. Like, who's that guy? I couldn't recognize anybody's face. I couldn't remember anybody. Then they give me that creepy AI that I'm supposed to deal with.
And, going back to the point that, the cast is not really like stars by any means whatsoever. Keir
Hmm.
Dullea, I have to shout him out. He's great in Black Christmas. It's a great movie, and that's like one of his only major roles. But the use of non-movie star actors kind of, I think it gives the film a very like, this is just what humanity could be like. Like there's
Okay.
almost a way you could see that like there's no way to prove that everything in this movie isn't real. Like we don't know what happened with apes in the past. We don't know what'll happen in the future. It could all be real.
And like, so this came out in '68. This was prior to landing on the moon. This was prior to we hadn't even had like a good picture of Earth from space yet. So
Oh, I
he
guess.
was really accurate about a lot of stuff. I mean, he predicted the existence of iPads.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a very. I feel like I'm going all over the place, but anyway, I really like the plot. I don't like themes. I think you were right. I mean, it is just, I don't know if it's like heavy on a specific theme, but it is just kind of the idea of the arc of mankind. It's speculating about how we got to where we were
Yeah.
and where we could be going, and somewhat has a hopeful vision of the future, maybe, depending on how you think it ends.
You think that was hopeful? Now we're talking about the end. But do you think
Um,
that is it
well, it's
supposed to
just,
be he becomes the baby and then we just do it all over again?
I think
Is
people
that
have
what he's
been
telling me?
debating that for 60 years. So I don't know.
Oh,
I think it,
I guess we're not gonna figure out human evolution here on the podcast today. Um, maybe.
So I gave myself, as I want to do, gave myself some extra homework before this, and I actually read the novel.
nice.
Which so Kubrick is known for making movies based on novels. This was an interesting case where he contacted Arthur C. Clarke, and they basically wrote both in tandem. So Clark, they kind of like work together, bouncing ideas off them. Clark would change something, and then Kubrick would change it. Kubrick would do something, and then Clark would adapt it into the novel. So they were really like side by side works. And the novel actually kind of explains things a little too much. What I really like about the movie is the ambiguity of it all, that it just kind of leaves things for you to interpret.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
No, that's not working for you. The other thing I wanted, so like Clark in the, he has an introduction to the book, and Kubrick actually came to him and he asked for Clark to write a story with a theme of mythic grandeur, and just like it was another quote that Clark had. I believe this is Clark. Through the years, who knows? But it's the quote that two possibilities exist: either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I didn't know that that was the specific theme that he wanted him to go for, so I think he succeeded. I have not read the novel, but I did a little bit of research. I did less research this time than I usually do, just because I think this movie is so interesting that it lends itself so much to your interpretation. And I didn't listen to Blank Check because I didn't want them to kind of color what I thought about it going into this episode. What I did read that like Clark almost fills in the blanks too much. Like he has a reason for a lot of things existing. And yeah, I kind of just like that the not knowing and just kind of speculating myself. Like, what did it all mean? And I can tell you what I
Maybe I
thought
would
it
have liked
meant.
his better. Maybe I would
You
have
really just
liked him to.
you want to read the book? I'll get you the book for your
Is it
birthday.
a thick book? I'm not gonna. No, don't buy me a book for my birthday. Don't do that
It
to
was
me.
actually it's actually a breeze to read. I was actually really surprised by how quickly I read it. I'm not a very fast reader. Well, one thing that, so all the times I'd previously watched the movie, the scene with the apes and the monolith, to me, it was almost the monolith was just an observer to their evolution.
God, you're so deep on this.
Well,
He
like
really
as
gets it.
opposed to what I think is implied and that the novel really does spell out. And I don't want to be this guy that's like, oh, the novel says, the novel says. But in the novel, it's like the monolith is there to project like intelligence into the apes and like make them do things.
Okay, that makes
Which
sense.
but it's like a thing that I never picked up even from watching this movie many times before. For me, it was always kind of like coincidental that it was just there.
There. See, I kind of thought because they did touch it, both the apes and then the people on the moon, I think they all touch it and then it has a specific reaction upon being touched, that it was exerting some sort of influence on them. And I just thought it was interesting that, like, I don't know, the steps of evolution for mankind, at least for me, it seemed like led towards violence, like
Yeah.
the apes developing weapons. And then I think between Hal and the astronaut on the way to Jupiter, it's a survival of the fittest situation. I think it sends them there because the two life forms that could possibly um become the next life form are either artificial intelligence or mankind. And then it's either Hal kills everyone or they end up disconnecting and technically killing Hal. And so mankind is the one that survived and they're the ones that actually make it to the monolith. And that's when he transforms him into the Star Child. But perhaps Hal could have been the next iteration of whatever too, if he had managed to kill the astronaut. So I don't know. I just thought yeah, all the times that we do see something interact with the monoliths, it does lead to violence.
I think you're right though with that as far as because even then the ending part when he reaches for the monolith, you don't actually see him touch it, but you're right. It does seem like the interaction with it is what leads to it. And that's even what John told me when I was confused after the 8 part originally. And I'm like, and then he beats the shit out of him. And he was like, well, the whole point is that these advancements in technology lead more to the violence than they do anything else,
But that's
I
what
guess.
separates, just getting down into like the theory of evolution. This is probably the heaviest we've ever talked about anything on this podcast. But what separated ape A from ape B, and like why did we advance into humans? And
Yeah.
like, and it was the capacity to use tools. But what do we use tools for?
'Cause it was only
So.
that one ape that saw the bones and decided to use them, and then he had a couple apes behind him, and they obviously thought he was, like, the dominant ape, and then these ones that were, like, the ones that were gonna get their asses kicked, and so they also made that decision about who was gonna be the strongest.
But then they also show them eating the little like pig things too. So, just
What pig
even
things?
the little pig things that were with them at the beginning of the movie, they show them eating. So like, I don't know what they were eating before, but they
I guess I
make a
missed
very
that.
specific point of now they're eating meat and like,
I guess I blacked out at that part.
It's funny, they were tapirs, which, I
Oh.
think that they wouldn't necessarily have been indigenous to the part of the world they were depicting, but Kubrick just loved that they looked otherworldly.
nice.
They got these weird extra long, like, noses and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know if it also is supposed to symbolize, like, I can now eat meat because, yeah, they were kind of picking at bushes and things like that,
Hmm.
Bugs
but
and stuff,
when
yeah.
else did they eat meat if they couldn't kill it?
Yeah. I don't know. At least that's what I got from it too. So just kind of the way species advance. Who knows? Um, yeah, we're really all over the place in
I
terms of
know.
my
Well, I
outline,
wanted to
but
say something good. I wanted to say something
okay, say
good.
something good.
Ish. So, I do like Stanley Kubrick. I'm going director thoughts here because I do like him, and I genuinely I like The Shining and Eyes Wide Shut were 2 great movies. I watch The Shining once a year, um, and, Eyes Wide Shut is creepy and sexual, so, I like that. Um, but I don't know, like I said, I just maybe this one's just not for me. Maybe I should try a different Kubrick movie. So, the positive of it was I like Stanley Kubrick, just not this one.
Yeah, same. I've also seen The Shining. I've seen Doctor Strangelove. I like everything of Kubrick's that I've seen. Got a lot of blind spots. I haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut, but this was probably the most glaring blind spot, and I'm glad that I watched it because, yeah, it's awesome.
John says that this movie is his magnum opus.
Yeah, I think a lot of people view it that way. And, like, I think people can have more favorite Kubricks. I probably A Clockwork Orange is my favorite.
I've seen that one too, yeah.
Um, or Doctor Strangelove. But yeah, there's something about just, I think, like, the technical achievements of this movie
Yeah,
that kind of,
agreed.
do it. This, before we, I guess we're a little way off Oscar talk, but this was Kubrick's only Oscar. Did you guys know that?
What did he win it for?
Like a win?
This is,
Wasn't
oh,
it
sorry,
for,
his only Oscar win. He had been nominated for other things, but this was the only
I
one he
read
won.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting because he won it for visual effects,
Oh,
I just read, I just heard the story the other night. So at the time, the Academy only allowed you to enter 3 people for a visual effects team. 2001 actually had 4 people heading it up. So Kubrick's just put his name. Okay, I'm going to be the one that I did it, and he kept the award to himself. He never acknowledged people or
What a
shared it. He was
dick.
just like, nope, this is my Oscar.
yeah, that's pretty shitty. I guess if you only
Yeah.
win one. uh,
I agree
um,
though that it did look really great. I mean, that's another positive I can say about it, but it almost felt a little boastful to me. I wrote down more than once in my outline here, it just felt like a look what I can do. That's what I felt like every time. You guys don't agree with me because you loved it, but I just think
well,
it was almost just like, look what I can do. Look at these colors that I can
I
do.
guess
Like,
I
look
kind
at,
of agree with you, but I don't think of that as a bad thing. Like, this is a
I
master
guess.
filmmaker making a movie look wonderful. Like, this came out almost 10 years before Star Wars, and I feel like it looks better than Star Wars. Like, just, I don't even know where to start. There's so much in this movie, just even the way some of the shots are framed and the colors too. It's absolutely
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Well, this was it really started the period where Kubrick's movies really started to be like paintings, I mean, Barry Lyndon is kind of the obvious, but so many of his movies are just like these long held shots, very slow camera movements and things like this. So yeah, it makes sense that it's a very visual movie.
Yeah.
He was trying to do that.
I
Maybe it was just the combination of me not understanding the movie that made me feel so angry about everything.
Well, now that you
It is
understand it, you should go back and watch it again.
I don't have 2.5 hours. I gotta watch just like a secret agent. I'm busy. I
Were you
cut
about
you
to say?
off, right? What did you have to
Yeah.
say?
No, I don't think I have anything else.
So, well, okay, so I'm a sucker for a movie that opens without dialogue for an extended period of time. Like, I was thinking of There Will Be Blood and how you don't get any dialogue in that for a long time, and I just love that. So I love that this just goes even harder. Yeah, I think I agree with you, Katelynn, that he is kind of being boastful and because he's a master of visual storytelling. There's so little dialogue in this movie, but it manages to tell a complete story without using dialogue. And just the production design is just crazy. Like, the fact that this is 1968 and there were things that were just like, how in the world did they film that without, this is all practical. There's no CGI or anything. I looked it up. Like, I haven't done that for any movie on this podcast before. Like, looked up behind the scenes stuff to see how things were actually filmed because it was just so impressive to me. Yeah, like the astronaut running around the centrifuge thing. Like,
I
yeah,
wrote that down. Yeah.
yeah, no idea how they did this in 68. And yeah, it was just really cool to see.
Or even when they would go up the steps and then the camera would
Mm-hmm.
flip because then they were now going down into the hole. That looked cool. I'll
Yeah,
give them that.
that was awesome. And just think about the time period when, this, we literally hadn't landed on the moon yet, but he just
I
was
didn't
doing
think of
things with
that.
the camera that, well, we maybe didn't land on the moon anyway, because don't people think that Kubrick helped stage the moon landing? Isn't he the director that
People
is?
think that he did.
People think that
yeah,
he helped the U.S. government film the moon landing. Yeah.
I mean, if they saw this, they were probably like,
Yeah,
"Wow,
I don't know. Maybe seeing
magnum
how impressive
opus."
this movie is, maybe that
Yeah.
lends some credence to that theory.
Now
think
I
it's a
don't believe in the moon landing, so thanks. Now I decided, don't clip that. I don't want anyone to think I'm an idiot.
Because I'm on record, I have to say I do not believe that Kubrick.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I think
you're on record now.
we can all definitively say that we do not believe that. That is good. Um,
Were you talking, you were doing cinematic moments?
I was going all over the place. I don't know. I can't follow my own thoughts, but yeah, everything was like I literally put like every shot under cinematic moments because I found myself going to Reddit threads of people that had just posted 4K stills of this movie and looking at them again because I honestly thought it was beautiful. Um,
That's really sweet.
yeah.
That's a really sweet thing that you did.
Someone else talk
Uh
now.
well, okay. So something cinematic that I enjoyed besides okay, Bowman going to Jupiter and all the lights coming at him and all the colors. That I thought that looked really great. And it for whatever reason, and yes, I had a few glasses of champagne, but I could not look away. Maybe you guys can kind of agree, but it almost put me in a little bit of a trance. Like I even said out loud, I said that's the most beautiful thing I've ever fucking seen. So there was some there was some good things that I saw. Um, the other one, I said another docking scene, Paul. Another one of them docking. Um, but I think the most cinematically upsetting thing, and you could tell how much it bothered me during the plot, was the breakdown of Hal, and him kind of unhooking all that stuff, and the him singing that song was so unbelievably haunting to me. I don't know what it is, like, and I probably should not have talked to ChatGPT after, right, to figure this out because now I'm actually talking to an AI. But him just, like, slowly dying and, like, losing his mind was terrifying, you guys. That was terrifying to watch, and the guy and he's just kind of like a race against time for this guy not to, like, I don't do whatever he's gonna do to kill him too. Cinematically, I put it under cinematic because it's not a favorite, it's just creepy to me. Um, Maybe you guys can agree that that was
Well,
a little too much.
no, I've certainly realized how much of this movie feels like a horror movie. You
Yeah.
know, once you get through like the dawn of the dawn of man, and then the guy goes to the moon. But what like he meets with the Russian scientist on the station, and he's like, "Hey, so it sounds like we can't contact the moon base, and is there like a epidemic that's broken out there?" And he's like, "Well, I can't discuss it." And so you're like, "Oh, what's this
Yeah,
guy going to do?"
something's afoot.
And it just builds from there. Obviously, on the moon surface, there's the monolith that kind of for me, I also used to always interpret this as like it was kind of like shocking them in some way, but
Mhm.
I think that's just them reacting
Okay.
to the sound.
Yeah.
But then once you're with the astronauts towards Jupiter, and like the guy goes out to repair the thing, and is just all you hear is his breathing
Yeah.
and the him in space, and you're just like you're in your head, you're like, something's gonna go wrong at any moment, especially if you know anything about this movie going into it. You're like, when are things gonna go off the handle? It's so tense. I just it never really hit me how much it's like sustained terror.
Yeah, I think
That's a
that
really good point.
entire
Yep.
third section of the movie, I was just, yeah, kind of, because I did know just from, I don't know, this movie existing for 60 years that, Hal was evil, or, I mean, I guess we can talk about whether or not Hal's really evil, but I knew something was going to go wrong, so definitely was on pins and needles a little bit. But I really, yeah, I had under favorite moments the death of Hal because it was just so well done. Like how he manages to convey like the terror of being a robot, and he kind of just speaks in a monotone voice, but like you can tell that he's afraid, and I don't know, just
No, no.
great voice
Mm-mm.
acting and just a really, really cool scene, and just like, yeah, the use of colors, like all the red in that scene when he's pulling the stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just pretty stunning shots.
I gotta
I
say
think it's
the guy Douglas Rain, who did the voice of Hal, Kubrick had seen him narrate a documentary, and that was what he
was it
was
about
like, "Oh,
death?
that's the voice I want." It wasn't someone that was like a real voice actor. It was just like, yeah, do that kind of monotonous droning talking, and it fits perfect.
Yeah,
It's a good opportunity for us to learn as we go into a more AI-based world that you shouldn't become friends with them or speak to them like they're humans because then they will do this kind of shit to you.
they will definitely kill you when the monolith reaches out to mankind.
Yeah, and speaking even more to that horror, because maybe that's what and I love horror, but I think that's probably what my mind was through this movie, like, how they would always he would focus right on Hale, and it's just that red dot, like, that's terrifying, and then he can and he didn't move, but you knew that he was just always keeping an eye on you and always watching you, and they shouldn't have put the entire space day in his AI bot hands, like, they should not have like, why nothing was manual or human, like, able to be handled by humans. They left it all to him. So if something goes wrong, you're right, like, they're just gone. And then when he goes out of out of the space lock to go fix that thing that he said was broken, but it wasn't actually broken, I knew something was wrong too because he didn't even have anything tethered. He wasn't even tethered. Like, I didn't know you could just float in space because I thought you would just float away.
Well, you
I'm
Maybe
going
some
all over the place.
maybe there's some questions to how real the space stuff is, but I mean, once it establishes what its reality is, you kind of get it.
Like, you knew that he didn't need a
Like
tether?
that they could well, like the way the pod moved around and the fact that like once Bowman gets like thrown away, that he can actually go like track him down.
Yeah.
Right, because he probably should have just shot off into the space
Well, he did shoot
at
off
that
into
point.
space. I mean, it just,
No, but he was still kinda hovering around because, like Ray just said, like, he could move the pod to go get him and scoop him up,
well, yeah, but as
but
long as the
I
pod
thought he
is
would
moving
just
faster than
fly
he's moving, you'll be
away.
able to catch up to it. But like, there's no so like he's just
I don't
gonna
know, the
keep
pod was
going at
moving
the
pretty
same
slow to
speed
me.
that he's wasn't. Okay, well, I guess we can complain about that.
I haven't been to
We don't
space yet.
have to.
I went to space camp,
Well, no
so
one has,
I've
so what else?
well, okay, so I liked the space station, how it was just so boring. Like it was basically an airport lounge. I just feel like that was just kind of an interesting, like, once the wondrous becomes commonplace, like, I don't know, capitalism takes over and there's a Pan Am lounge and like a Howard Johnson, and so I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
I like that. Like,
And like the
how many
dudes
sky
flying to
miles do you get
space.
for
Yeah.
going to space?
Well, like, so flying to space to us would be so amazing, and he literally just falls asleep during it.
Yeah,
It's kind of probably how people, I don't know, couple like would feel about us falling asleep on an airplane now.
that's why I don't fall asleep on airplanes.
Yeah, you just
How am I
drink.
supposed to drink my Bloody Mary? Oh my god, what did you just say you just drank? Ray doesn't know me very well, I'm sorry. I do like to have a drink on the plane.
I've been there, done that.
Good, good, I'm glad. Do you guys have any other favorite moments? Ray, I don't think we,
Yeah, actually, there
went
was
back to
something
you.
I was gonna say. So, because Paul had a really intriguing thought that I'd never had before about the concept that if Hal was the one to make it to Jupiter, that it would be the one to make contact, with whoever sent the monolith. Um, and I've kind of was unsure watching it whether, as he's disconnecting Hal, right as he like finishes disconnecting him, he gets the playback that says, "Hey, your actual mission was this." And was that tied to Hal being disconnected, or was it a little more coincidental? But either way, it's known that Hal knew what the mission was,
Mhm.
but
Yes.
they didn't.
Yeah.
And that's just interesting, with what Paul said to like think about.
Yeah,
'Cause I
that's a really good
think
point.
Hal hadn't known, would he have gone rogue? Like, would he have tried to kill them? Like, I guess
Do you
people
think he
still
was trying to
debate.
save them?
Well, yeah, people still debate like what it was that caused Hal to start. And one theory I saw was that he had like the conflicting information that like he was basically keeping a secret from them, and him having to keep the secret was like causing a conflict
Too
with his
much for him?
programming. Yeah, so but I
Yeah.
don't know. I really thought since he knew what he was the only one that knew that he was getting into, he wanted to be the only one to make it there.
You're gonna have
Because
to repeat that, Paul.
oh it's I thought because Hal knew what the mission was, like you see that so in so many stories like of a like just think of Terminator, like once the AI realizes that mankind is the problem, that's them kind of taking the machines taking over. Think I don't know, Terminator, The Matrix, like every story where AI takes over, like they eventually realize they
Yeah.
have to eliminate humanity. So
Talking about the kind of the mundanity of like this space.
mhm.
I think it was really nice that he got a couple of moments of levity in when it's when he's going to the moon. He goes to use the zero gravity toilet,
Oh yeah.
and he goes to look at the instructions, and
Oh,
it's like a paragraph of 10, and it's just like, is this worth it? Like there's just that I literally laugh out loud every time that scene pops
That
up.
was really funny. It's
Um,
so unnecessary, but I guess you did need that moment of levity in such a heavy movie.
Coulda
And
used a
then
couple more of those.
well, there was another, like, a little small one when you get introduced to the 2 astronauts going to Jupiter. I'm gonna forget their names too.
Pool.
Yeah. They're watching the news broadcast, which is kind of interesting. They're watching themselves like, "Oh, how did we do?" And they're eating their food, and as Bowman goes to take it out of, like, the little magic tray, it's, like, extra hot, and he's like, "Ow," like, he's burning
Yeah.
his hands, and it's just, like, little things that, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess even in space, they still gotta deal with food's too hot.
Bad microwaves.
Food looked absolutely appetizing. I was just watching them, the way they were like it must have been, I mean, obviously gross, space food's not the best, but just the way they were mixing them, um, I thought that was interesting. I liked everything in the space station. I didn't I didn't hate the okay, I didn't hate the movie, I just really disliked it. I'm never gonna watch it
Fair.
again. I think you guys can tell. I am not going to watch this one again, not with a glass of wine, nothing.
So I think one thing that helped me is that I'm more of a fantasy person, but I have read plenty of like sci-fi stories and other sci-fi movies throughout the years, and so I was familiar with a lot of the concepts. An extraterrestrial race like, reaching out through to humanity throughout time. I don't like just concepts that I was familiar with that I think gave me like a toehold into the story, so that it wasn't just I kind of just had an idea what was going on because so many like sci-fi tropes come from 2001. So I can see that if like that wasn't a background that you were familiar with at all, if you had like no point of entry for the
Yeah.
story, how it would just kind of seem like what the fuck is going on with this. And I get it.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't know that there was extraterrestrials involved until I Googled it.
What were your
Well,
I'm
initial
that's
so
what
thoughts of the
sorry.
monolith? I guess they might not even be extraterrestrials. Like it's
I don't
never
know.
explicitly stated.
I don't know. I don't know. I just thought it just was dropped. It showed up. I guess now once I found out that it was extraterrestrial, from my research, it made sense, but I guess I just didn't think about why it was there at all. To me, it just always kind of existed, I guess.
Yeah, I think
It
that's
could
part of
have.
the ambiguity that the movie's kind of playing it because I mean, like, we live in an age where, movies like Interstellar come out and, there's, like so many more things you can do with technology. At the time, though, when this movie came out, it was also new. It was also like, what does stuff mean that, a movie like this could come out and people wouldn't be thinking about, oh, is this aliens or not? They're just more like, I can't understand any of it. And it would be just so awing that I think that was the takeaway people had.
Mhm.
And it gives you a
I
lot to
just
talk about. And I think that's what Kubrick kind of said is that he didn't want to over explain things. He wanted people to like bring their own opinions and discuss what they thought the movie was about.
Yeah, sadly, I just don't have a lot of opinions on space travel or aliens.
You had a lot to say about Interstellar.
Yeah, but there was other stuff that I could focus on with Interstellar. I mean, like the relationship between him and Murph and like not necessarily romance, but there was definitely something going on with him and Dr. Brand. Like there was other stuff for me to kind of focus on and talk. I feel like I'm being like a basic bitch because all I care about is love and boobies and romance, but like
So there's characters not as
nothing to
important in
grab.
this movie as just like the spectacle of the movie itself and like
Yeah,
space travel and the ideas that the movie's grappling with. The character with the
they don't
most
mean as
depth is
much.
probably Hal. Like
Yeah. Mhm.
that's the character everyone remembers. So I get it.
Well, I get it now why John always said, like, "I can't do that." Or what does he say? "I can't do that, George?" Is that his name? Do you know the
I
line
can't
I'm
do that.
talking about?
It's I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, that's it. That John says that all the time, and I was like, "Why is he saying that?" And then he knew it was coming, and he got so excited, and I was just like, "Okay, be a creep AI just like him." Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about before we get to that ending?
We'd have covered a lot of it.
So one thing, as an editor, I thought it'd be really fun if I kind of brought in like some of my favorite edits in the movie.
But yeah, for sure.
We'd love to hear that.
And I have a couple or two specifically. So during the sequence where the primitive man is learning to use the bone as a weapon, and you these shots of him just hitting bones and just like, oh, it does destruction and all these things. There's two shots of the tapir that he eventually kills, and it's not you're not seeing him actually hit the thing on the head, but the way it's intercut with the other, you kind of don't need to see that to just
Mhm.
explicitly get the, oh, he's learning how to kill for food. Just thought really nice and artistically done. um the other is as the Stargate sequence is beginning, the kind of the trippy visuals. Right after they start, you cut back to Bowman, and you just get a shot of his face. and it's a lot longer than I remember every time I watch it. He's basically just kind of, you really get the sense that or that he is going through this, as opposed to it's just some fancy, like, lights in the sky. He is being sent on this journey, and his head just starts shaking back and forth, and it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
the shot is held for so much longer than I think you normally do, but it just really puts you in the, like, he's going through this.
Hmm.
That actually adds to my uncomfortability sitting with him too long because I don't like that in any movies, and I don't like looking at people directly in their eyes or anything like that, and it's almost like it's forcing you to be in those situations. So, great job, Stanley. I was severely uncomfortable during most of this film. I think that's a great way to put it. I was just very uncomfortable. Did
Well, good.
you
It
have
made you
anything?
feel something.
I did, finally. Thank goodness. Anything else from you guys before I talk about Star Baby? Star Child?
Well, just I talked about how I was wondering how the like whole centrifuge scene got shot. So the wheel itself is what's moving, and like so he's not actually in space running in no gravity. So if you happen to think whatever I'm talking about is interesting, look up some behind the scenes stuff of that because it's really cool, just how they managed to shoot that.
You know who thought it was interesting? Christopher Nolan, and then he made Inception. Good one, right? That's what you're talking about, like, it's the camera, like, going around it and, like no.
Yeah.
Can you cut
Well,
cut it?
Inception they run on walls and stuff, so I don't think they were Joseph Gordon-Levitt was
Well,
really
like, when he's
running.
even when he's, like, going down that hallway and he's got kind of his hand up and he's, trying to
Yeah,
walk and
yeah,
keep himself steady. I saw
yeah.
that
You're
and I was
right.
like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Inception. I
Okay.
Yeah,
got it.
that's
I
true.
got
Yeah.
something."
I was thinking of like when like the road like comes up in front, and like that wasn't real. They didn't do that.
What? Oh, you mean because of the top? Because the top was spinning, so it wasn't real.
Right, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
all a
got it.
dream.
I got it.
Christopher
Don't
Nolan
worry.
invented new cameras to film dreams.
Whatever he's into.
All right, so you want to talk
Um,
about the ending, Caitlin? You loved it.
okay, so I said this was probably the most confusing thing I've ever seen. The ending especially, I got so confused because, like I said, it looked like Bridgerton, and so I was like, I thought we were in the past for a moment. But then you see him all wrinkly, like he was inside of his space helmet and he was space aged, I thought, and I was like, "Oh, Interstellar, like he's been up there so long that now he's old." But I don't think that's what that was. Like that's not what they were trying to tell me, right? It was just like him going through the rest stages of his life because he made it? Question mark. Am I reading this right?
Well, my interpretation was that he was no longer experiencing time in like a linear fashion as he was ascending into this higher plane of conscious or space baby or whatever it was. And even
Oh,
like the Bridgerton kind of house, I didn't think it was a real, I thought it was more like dream logic, how things just like, they're basically trying to show us,
you make something up of something you've seen
yeah,
before?
like what is going on in his brain as he's kind of transforming. Like there's just things being pulled together, and so it wasn't like a physical place. It was just it was
The
dream
internet told
logic
me it was the
essentially.
aliens that built that for him because that's what they thought a house looked like, and that was their only reference.
That I think is supposed to be the intention, and like it took me forever to even realize this, but like the whole when you're going through the Stargate sequence, it's supposed to be okay. He's shot through a wormhole or whatever, going off into some far flung space. And you get to one scene where there's a bunch of these little like floating diamondy things in the air. That's supposed to be this like junction where everybody the time or the space travels gets to, and then they pick their next destination and then they go from there. And then all the shots that are like helicopter footage, it's like all weird colors and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Which in the age of Apple screensavers really isn't as interesting as it probably once was. But that was supposed to like represent him like arriving on an alien world. And for
Oh,
me,
so
it's
he
like
wasn't
that's
even on Earth?
no, he goes to somewhere else in the universe, and it's supposed to be when you see those helicopter shots that it's like he's landing on another planet.
Huh,
For me that sequence just goes on too long. I think it was probably a case of this
agreed.
looks so cool, we want to use as much of it as we can. That'd
Mhm.
probably be a thing that I would shorten, but yeah, it's supposed to be, and then there's no real like landing sequence. He just kind of ends up in a room
Yeah.
that yeah, is supposed to have been built by the aliens to kind of like, this is what human rooms look like.
Mhm.
Gotcha. See, I just didn't think any of it was actually literal, so it's interesting to know that the intent was that it was real.
I do agree with you, Paul, that it's like he's experiencing a time dilation.
Yeah.
It's like in his head, he got out of the pod, looked in the bathroom, turned around, And
Oh,
then like all these like he's like experiencing them, and all of a sudden is his next self the one he just saw. And it's like for him that took a couple minutes, but in another time somehow he aged all those years or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. And then becomes Star Baby.
the only star child I recognize is David Bowie. There you go.
Well,
You
so
guys
when
have
you
really
think
you
Mic
guys have
drop.
really helped me though. Like, I feel like I'm learning a little bit more from both of you on something that I definitely was just like, I'm gonna put this one out of my brain. So thank you.
what do you think it means when Star Child comes back to Earth? How do you interpret that part of the ending? Either of
I
you.
don't. I don't.
Yeah, I still even after reading the book, I kind of still not 100% sure of what that means. Probably, I'm sure Caitlin hasn't. Paul, have you seen 2010, the
No, I
sequel?
have not.
That's my
I
favorite
don't.
movie.
How weird! You've never seen this
That's so
one.
weird. She loves that
Uh,
one. No,
I,
never
I
seen it.
I watched that years ago and really don't remember it. I'm going to revisit it now that we've talked about this. But apparently, he wrote like 4 or 5 books, so the story continues.
Yeah. I
Well,
almost
then
think
I
I
guess we can find out what
don't
happened
want
to
to
the Star
continue.
Child.
uh, well, I guess I mean I'm just a child. I assume rebirth of some sorts, but is it like
Mhm.
a rebirth in a good way, or like let's burn it all down and start again? I guess it kind of just depends on
If he
what
becomes
you
a
think.
star toddler.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
how's
I'm
it
a
gonna look?
little down on humanity right now, so I was kind of hoping that we would just burn it all down and start again.
Maybe that's what he does. Maybe that's what the newness kind of a baby, like the newness of a baby is trying to show that this is all going to start brand new. Maybe that's what it is. And that's why he's touching cuz remember we're talking about touching the monolith and then something changes. Maybe for this situation, the earth is that new monolith and he's going to touch it, boom, brand new.
Well, and like similar to how the when the ape touched it, he learned violence, but he taught it then to everyone else. As a star child, is he going to now come to Earth and give the rest of humanity his whatever knowledge that
His
he's gained?
Yeah,
Yeah.
something good or something bad, or maybe just sickness. He's probably just gonna give him a cold because that's what kids seem to be doing lately is giving people fucking colds.
He just has cholera.
What? Jesus. Um, okay, anything else from either of you? Because the people love an hour and a 30-minute episode, I'm sure.
They love when we go long. I think I've covered everything that I want to say. What about you, Ray?
Yeah, no, I think I've said everything. For me, this is the perfect example of a 5-star movie. I don't think it has its flaws, especially with the technology we've got nowadays. But it's just kind of an undeniable 5-star.
Yeah, I think I would need to watch again before I gave it 5 stars, but upon first watch, it's at least like a 4.5 for me because I don't know, it exceeded every expectation that I had for it, and I found myself just absolutely enthralled. So
I can't wait for Nancy Meyers May that I've just put out in the world because
we're not
she
doing that.
because I'm looking for 5 stars all the month of May, baby. Here we go. I think personally for me, I'm gonna give it a 2.
Well, that's higher than I
Ooh.
rated Jerry Maguire, so this isn't the least popular movie we've ever
Yeah, well,
done.
now I feel dumber for watching 2001: A Space Odyssey. No, because Ray, you gave your review. You watched this a couple weeks ago. I've been following your Letterboxd. I am. I'm a fan. And you put 5, right? Didn't you put 5? And
Yeah,
and I was like, oh fuck. And then Paul puts up another movie the other day that anime that I want to watch too. And you said this is the second like most beautiful achievement or something that I've seen in the last couple weeks. And I was like, fuck. Like these two guys are gonna roast the shit out of me because I did not get this movie. I knew it was coming and I prepared myself. I put on a lot of deodorant. I was mentally prepared. I'm fine.
hey,
I'm fine.
as a fan of the podcast, it's kind of great when you guys have a little bit of disagreement. It's not just oh yeah, we feel the same way. So
I always think
Thank
it's
you.
more fun when we don't agree on the movies, so
Yeah, so you must have loved our holiday episode.
I was
yeah, having just
respectful during
watched it
that.
too, and I leaned a little more with Paul on that one too.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
All
Right.
right,
Well,
Paul.
Ray, do you want to give any non-movie shout outs to our listening audience?
Now's your
Yeah,
chance.
I'd thought about doing a Pokemon shout out that since Katelynn had been doing her ZA shout outs. It was going to be so I'm a huge Pokemon Go player, which is having its 10th anniversary this summer. But because Katelyn's been doing so much Pokemon, I thought I would shout out local libraries because I checked out the 2001 novel from my local library, which I hadn't been to in a long time, and I think people need to do that more. Check out the local libraries. It's too easy to just buy a book on Amazon and get it the next day.
That's
It
true. Plus
is,
the clutter
and
of buying all those
you can
books.
also just get movies from the library too, and often they're nicer than the quality that you're going to get on streaming. So use
That's
your library for that
true.
too. What about you, Caitlin? What do you want to shout out?
Um, one time I rented the Very Brady sequel from my local library so much that they asked me if I just wanted to keep it.
That's great.
Sorry. So my only non-movie shout out was just literally anyone except Stanley Kubrick. That's everybody gets a shout out except for him.
Oof.
So, Bin Laden.
My God, Paul. No. Okay, who's your shout out, Paul?
Well,
Yeah, just to be
today
clear.
is my niece Celine's 18th birthday, and I know she's a fan of the podcast. So this
Oh
will
my gosh,
be
I
airing
can't
after
believe
you turn
that.
18. But happy birthday, Celine. Yeah, next
Happy
time we're up north,
birthday.
we will take you to the casino since you can gamble now.
Well, you know what we should also do before we wrap up? Ray decided to wear a special outfit for this episode.
Oh yeah,
And
me.
we'd be
Yep.
remiss if we didn't mention that you went on theme
So
on
if you're
screen.
Yeah,
not
totally.
watching this on
My
YouTube,
wife
you
got this
should.
for me a few weeks ago. It's from a place called, or it's a, what is it? A store. It's a record label called Graveface. They make like clothing and other things too. They have a store in. They're based out of Savannah, Georgia, but they have a store in Chicago. My wife got me this, and yeah, if you guys listening to the podcast want to know what it looks like, make sure you check out the YouTube channel.
Yes. Thank you
Hey,
so much for
let's
that
go.
plug. Well, yeah, speaking
There
of
you
that,
go.
Caitlin, where do we exist on the internet?
We exist many places, but you can mostly follow us on Instagram at theme.onscreen. We're also on Letterboxd. You can follow our journey at Theme on Screen there also. And then YouTube is Theme on Screen. You can just search for us up in that search bar. And we should pop up along with, no, just our videos. That's it. I thought maybe there'd be something fun there, but that's it.
Maybe we'll add something fun sometime soon.
Maybe
Okay,
one day.
well,
I mean, there's a soup recipe up there, so there is fun
it's true.
stuff. Yeah,
Well,
there's a whole
thank
soup
you
recipe.
again, Ray, for guesting, and yeah, come back anytime.
Thanks so much for
Yeah,
having
we
me,
really
guys.
had a good time with you. Thank you, Ray.
And yeah, we'll see everyone next week for episode 20, Apollo 13.
Let's go. I don't know. I'm doing this a lot. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.